You're listening to At the Grove, a podcast for the Heritage School.
Hello, Hawk families. We are here at the Nest for our very first podcast called At the Grove. We're really excited to kick off this podcast. We'll have some exciting interviews coming up. We'll have some talks with students. But today, our first episode is going to be about our 25-26 re-enrollment season, which we have called Your Success Story Next Chapter. That's going to be the theme for this podcast for the upcoming year, and we're really excited to talk about all the exciting things going on here at the Heritage School. I'm Emily Kimbell. I'm the Director of Communications, and I'm really excited to sit here and talk with our head of school, Kristin Skelly, and Admissions Director, Trevor Hamaker, about all the brand new things we have coming up, our new buildings, our new initiatives, and particularly our brand new all-inclusive tuition model that's going to incorporate daily lunch as part of our tuition. So let's talk about what's coming up in the next year. We have chosen Your Success Story Next Chapter as the theme for this year's re-enrollment season. So, Kristin, why is that theme so important to the Heritage School?
Well, we are so excited about this re-enrollment season and so excited. We've had such a tremendous year of growth here at the Heritage School. Our new upper school building, Prevola Hall, the upgrades to the middle school building where they have their own new space, the new campus additions, including our new play spaces for our lower school students. They've made a huge difference to our students and our families. Recently we just did the All-In campaign, so the new swings that we had already purchased are going to be joined by a treehouse/playhouse, and the garden will be completed in just a few weeks. So our new division directors have hit the ground running in their first year here with their prospective age groups, and we are so pleased to have such an outstanding faculty and staff here at Heritage.
It really has been an amazing year with all these new developments and things. And there's even more that's going to be happening next year. So what's the next chapter look like for the Heritage School?
Well, I'm so happy that you asked. It's really no secret that we have a new building going up in the middle of campus. We really can't hide that. The kids have been asking all about it, and we've been pretty open with them. And we haven't really launched a public campaign or a public fundraising or anything about that, because we really have been so glad that we've had a handful of generous donors that have actually stepped up to plate and nearly fully funded this new building, which is the Innovation Center.
Very exciting.
So yes, it really is. The best part about it is a new space for every Heritage student. Even the littles will be in this building. So it's going to house a lower school science lab, a robotics space, a physics lab, a biology and environmental science lab, a workshop, a tech lab, and a makerspace. And in addition, there's an innovation courtyard where there's going to be all sorts of cool things going on with water catchment systems and farm bots. I didn't know what a farm bot was until Tina and Eleanor shared that it is actually a robot that farms. So, cool. So in their robotics space, they'll be able to program that to farm in a raised bed, which is pretty amazing. I'm very excited about hearing about that. Solar power sources, hydroponic gardening systems, weather stations. So the possibilities are endless for the Innovation Center. And I think what's so exciting about it is that building can adjust to house whatever programs come along, because we know how fast the world is changing.
Absolutely.
And how our programming has to change just as fast to get our kids ready for what they're going to experience when they leave us. Because, of course, the whole goal with our kids is to prepare them for the next step.
Absolutely. And I have seen just the beginning renderings and things of this, and it is really, really amazing. I'm like jealous that I didn't get to enjoy that as a student. I'll be sneaking in there as a faculty member to see what cool things are going on. But you mentioned something that we love to hear. The building is fully funded. We're not asking for additional funds.
Well, yes and no. So the construction is fully funded.
Fabulous.
But as you can imagine, with an innovation center, there are so many things that have to go inside. So you know as well as I do that here at Heritage, we don't really build anything until we have it. We are debt-free. institution. We love being a debt-free institution. So we really don't build anything until we've raised the funds. So what we do need to fill the building with is all the cool stuff that goes inside that building. And that's what we will be fundraising for. 3D printers, woodworking tools. Again, we're going to have a woodworking shop
That's
in
amazing.
the building, which is just the coolest thing. VR headsets and charging stations, laser cutters, poster printers. If you can imagine it, we're trying to purchase it.
So neat. So cool.
Yes, very cool.
So that is obviously a very exciting part of the upcoming year. What else do we have as part of the 25-26 school year?
I think the initiative that is just as exciting as the Innovation Center, depending on who you ask, is our new food service program.
And can you explain a little bit about what this is and why this was such a priority for Heritage to implement now?
Yeah, so, everything always starts from a reason, right? So there were kind of three things that happened. So we have been so blessed to have Casey Smith and George and his team here doing our food service. And they've been doing it for the past several years. And they really jumped in at a time when we needed some help.
Sure.
And we had a previous food service that had changed hands, and they really weren't doing exactly what we needed them to do anymore. And Casey stepped right in and said, oh my gosh, we love the Heritage School, we'll help. Well, last spring they told us, unfortunately, the 24-25 school year is the last year we're going to be able to serve you guys. Casey is such a successful businessman here in Newnan. He's got so many other things going on. He has a child graduating.
Right.
So I think, again, he was so great to us, but we realized at that point we needed to start looking for something. So last spring, we actually started embarking on what are some of our other options. The other thing that happened was, we do those surveys every year. Mm-hmm. So 23-24, we did a survey. This year we did a survey. And one of the things that parents kept talking about was the need for fresh food, non-processed. A lot of families eat farm to table at their house.
Mm-hmm.
They don't eat any processed food. And they said, our kids love the pizza, they love this, but we would love an opportunity for even our littlest children to be able to use a salad bar.
Absolutely.
Or have a sample of food, and not eat bags of chips and not have soda. Have y'all thought about that? So that really kind of started our journey to looking at food service programs, and in particular farm to table programs where the food is freshly made. It's not processed. They're using local gardens, they're using local farms, and providing a great nutritious meal to students. And again, incorporating that nutrition program in where the kids are learning how to eat well.
Absolutely.
I think we heard a lot from the food providers that we talked to about teaching kids how to eat the rainbow, that eating a variety of foods was such a good...
Fun.
I know, right?
Yeah, what a cute way of
And there's so
explaining
much
that.
nutrition education that goes into this, which is something that I felt like maybe we were missing too.
Sure. And I mean, with all the innovations going towards our mission of the mind with this innovation center, it just makes sense that following it, we're mind, body, spirit. So this is just
Absolutely.
investing in our students being healthy and learning how to eat healthy for the rest of their lives. So I think it pairs really well with what we've got going on. But tell me about the process of looking for these food service options. We love who we have. We love the Grove Cafe. So they have very big shoes to fill. What did that process look like?
Well, again, this has been almost a whole year that we've been through this process. And I want to jump back to a little bit. You were just talking about mind, body, spirit, camaraderie. And one of the survey comments that stuck out to us when the division directors and I kind of went through all those last year was a comment from a mom. I think it was a mom. These are anonymous, but this sounds like a mom comment. With as much emphasis as we give to the whole child, I would love to see us focus on the health of the whole child. Mm-hmm. Nutritious meals and a nutrition education program would be a big win for our family. And that was something that we kind of sat back and went, oh.
Yeah.
So maybe that, because, oh my gosh, she's exactly right. The whole child is so important to us. The physical education, the fact that our kids get PE every day is unheard of. And the emphasis we put on sports and nutrition and fueling your body, our coaches talk to our kids about that all the time. We really need to make sure that our food program is matching that.
For sure. Absolutely.
So the process was, again, started about a year ago. Looking at the survey feedback, I am very fortunate that I'm able to collaborate with lots of heads of schools from all over the Southeast and basically put a blanket question out. Hey, who are you guys using? What are you finding is helpful?
Sure.
And then we actually went to some schools in the spring and looked, and then we asked for parents to be part of a parent focus group. And we had them come meet with a couple different vendors, and then we explored probably over 3 months about 8 different schools and really dug into what their programs look like, what aspects of the food program that we wanted to bring back to Heritage, really ask the hard questions and feel like we've got a great solution. So feel like these parents were so helpful in showing us what, we had parents that had allergy concerns,
Sure.
with their kids, and then parents that really said, hey, I really want my kid to still be able to have some pizza and chicken tenders if they want to. So we have to balance those sides and make sure everybody's getting what they want.
Absolutely. And I'm sure all of you know feeding one child can be difficult enough with what they like to eat and things. So feeding 450 children on campus
and 88 staff members, right?
Right. So that's a lot of people with a lot of different palates. So when you were looking through these options for food services, what were these must-haves? How are we going to make sure that 500 plus people are happy with their food every day?
Yes, and that was probably the most fun part about this whole thing, is having the parents in the focus group and the administrators that went list what are the most important, like what do you want to see? And I think one thing that came out of all of this was personnel. They wanted to make sure that the personnel that comes to the school and is working with our children every day are very similar to George and his team that we have now. George and Brooke, and that they are so great with our kids. So the fact that we were going to have a say in personnel was huge for us. Having a dietitian on hand was huge for us.
That's
and
amazing.
The availability of that dietitian to be here to meet with families, be here to meet with coaches and say, hey, I understand these are the calorie needs and the needs for your team. Let's figure out how we make these meals for them, right? Something that we haven't really had before. I think the food stations is where it really gets kind of fun. We saw so many great things in our school visits, so it was hard to narrow it down. But the most important aspects to us were child-appropriate serving lines. So a salad bar where a little person can actually serve themselves.
They're going to love that so much.
It was great. And seeing a salad bar made just for them, where they could try black olives for the first time or get a few pieces of pineapple and just try and not worry about, paying for that and not liking it.
Right, exactly. Or that food waste. You could take just a couple bites of
Absolutely. And the salad bars were just full of really fresh food choices. A deli bar with a panini station. We saw students making their own paninis, getting this fresh roasted meat that they roasted in-house, and cheeses and vegetables, and then, again, making their own panini at a panini station, which makes you feel like a grown-up, right? So those were great. A hot soup station, a hot meal station to feature a new entree every day. We saw a hibachi station at one of the schools, which was pretty amazing. The other thing that we really liked was an allergen-free station.
For sure.
Where any child could, not just kids with allergies, but any child could go to this allergen-free station with a dedicated attendant, that they were making sure that those utensils were not cross-contaminated with anything else. And everything we tried at the allergen-free stations were just amazing. So really excited about that. A rice bowl station where kids were making rice bowls was very popular, where there was rice and they could put all the toppings and all the different sauces they wanted, which was great. Their grab-and-go section with fresh fruit and half sandwiches. If you were an upper school student and just said, hey, I really need to go see my teacher, you could grab some fresh fruit and half a sandwich and go. A drink station, no sodas, just flavored waters, no high-sugar juices, things that we know kids cannot operate with.
Right. Right.
And no sugary bagged or processed snacks. None of that. So I think in this new era of food, I think cookies and brownies and all that will be very limited, maybe a once a week kind of treat.
Sure.
So, because again, we know kids cannot function. A lot of kids don't function well at all after a sugary soda or I know I don't function well after a sugary soda or a very, high sugar meal or drink. So, I think we're moving in that direction where, again, we're looking at their needs and deciding this is how we need to show them how to eat. And maybe this will last a lifetime for them.
Oh, absolutely. And with so many options, you may not even miss those cookies or brownies because you have a tasty alternative that's healthier that you can try. And it'll be a fun thing, I think, for these kids to be able to try new foods.
Sure.
And for the middle and upper school, well, I guess for everybody, but particularly middle and upper school, they can eat whatever they want.
Correct.
Yes?
Correct. And as much as they want. And that was the most interesting thing was there were no payment lines, meaning the kids could go wherever. And I think that was one of the other things we heard from families was that sometimes the payment line, everybody using their credit card and kids were buying a la carte items sometimes in our line where they'd be buying 8 things. And it took a while for them to get through the line. There are no payment lines. So they're just going through and picking whatever they want. And it's amazing. I never saw a child that had like a huge plate of food that was going to waste.
Right.
They had learned that, hey, I'm going to try some of the rice bowl. And then I'm going to go back. I'm going to maybe make half a panini. And then I'm going to go back and maybe make a bowl of fruit. So it was very interesting. The kids knew exactly how to manage that line and how to manage their choices.
I'm sure. They know it's there. They can go back and get whatever they want.
And there's no harm in, hey, I think I want to try that grilled salmon, but if I don't like it, I didn't pay for it and I'm wasting money. I can tell the server, I've never tried this. I want to try a little bit. And then if I love it, I'll come back and get more.
And that's great.
Right.
That is great. And especially great for teachers who will not have hangry teenage boys in their classrooms or who have stockpiled a bunch of snacks and are trying to eat them.
Right.
But probably the biggest change with this food service is this is now going to be part of tuition.
Yes, that's
correct. So can you talk about that, explain that, kind of address maybe those concerns that people have?
Sure. So I think Trevor's going to talk about that in a little bit with our all-inclusive model, but this was a model that we had seen work beautifully at so many different schools. Again, that this lunch is part of tuition. So there's no money changing hands. This is for the entire year. I think we're going to be really, I think parents are going to be really excited to hear from our new food service provider. They're going to be here throughout the month of March to do some meetings and do some show and tells about what's coming and answer some of those questions.
Sure.
And I think what we heard from parents that we talked to that were part of these food services is the amount of time they were spending shopping for lunch things, the amount of time that they were boxing the lunch, and then the lunchbox would get home and half the stuff would still be in it. And so it was, again, I think it's going to be a time saver. I think it's going to be a change for us for sure. And I think I think the tuition number is going to be higher than normal this year because we are incorporating that. And that's something families need to know ahead of time. But again, I think there's a whole month for us to sort of share with parents how we think this is going to work.
Absolutely.
And share with them about how many other schools are doing this and doing it so successfully.
Well, and the benefits to time, the benefits to going out grocery shopping, or I forgot this last minute and here's my midnight run to Walmart to grab whatever I need.
Or Instacarting, yes.
Right,
I do that too.
Or door dashing, emergency food.
Yes.
So I think you're right in that getting answers from the food service and thing is really going to really demonstrate the benefit of this food service. But talk to us a little bit about break. So we know what lunch is going to look like. We do have break for our students. What is that going to look like under this new model?
Right. So part of this is ELC and lower school students will be provided a snack every day. So that's part of the tuition model for them. Middle and upper school students, they're very different. Sometimes they eat breaks, sometimes they don't. Right. Sometimes they eat a lot of breaks, sometimes they don't. So we have decided to go to a retail model with middle and upper school, meaning they will have the opportunity to purchase things if they choose to, but they don't have to. So that is something that we will be offering through the new food service.
Fabulous. So I think that kind of wraps up our talk about the food service. We'll obviously have these town hall meetings that will get the dates out to people about to answer any other upcoming questions. But let's jump into now the re-enrollment packet and what that looks like, because that is going to be happening soon. So let's talk to Trevor here, who's been waiting to chat. Trevor, can you tell us what the re-enrollment process for this year looks like? Talk about more about what this inclusive tuition model is going to be.
Sure. If you can remember, last year we mailed out the re-enrollment packets.
We all remember that, Trevor.
Right?
We all remember.
Yes.
If you were here, you remember. If you know, you know. We tried to make it really personal, and so we know it's a big decision for families. We don't just want to gloss over it and take anything for granted. We know it's a big decision to re-enroll every year, and we really do want it to be special. So this year, instead of mailing each packet, we're actually going to be sending a re-enrollment envelope home with each child, and that's going to be going home on Tuesday, February the 25th.
Much excited. And what is going to be in all of these envelopes? What can they expect to see?
Sure. It's going to have all kinds of really detailed information, especially with regard to the all-inclusive tuition model, because that's a brand new thing. And so we want to be very clear about what that looks like and what those expectations are. Tuition numbers, dates for the upcoming town halls that Kristin had mentioned, and that's going to explain more about those dining services. It's going to give you an opportunity to engage with the food service providers, ask questions, and get the answers that you may need. You also get some financial aid information. I continue to get emails about the 25-26 school year calendar because you guys want to schedule vacations. And so that's going to be published in that envelope as well, and a sample contract. That way you can see what it is that you're expecting. And sometimes it's easier to hold it in your hands than to just kind of see it online. And so you'll have a paper version of what that sample contract looks like as well.
Great. So they're going to get some more information about this all-inclusive tuition, but can you give us kind of a preview of what that information is going to look like? What can they expect?
Sure. Like Kristin had mentioned earlier with the survey data, those surveys and those responses to those surveys are so helpful because they really keep us in touch with how you guys are feeling about what's going on. And time again, families have told us that really simplifying that tuition process would be helpful. So in previous years, what we've done is we've gone in and we've broken everything out line by line. And that would be things like facility fee, security fee, activity fee. And now what we're going to see is you're going to have one number that includes all those things along with that new lunch service. So it's all one number. It's an all-inclusive tuition number. And there's going to be a graphic there in the re-enrollment packet that is going to lay it out very clearly. And I think that families are going to be really pleased with what they see there.
Yeah, there's like nothing worse than buying something and then you go to check out and there's like 5 different lines of all the fees, right?
It's like your cable bill.
Right. So this is great. No surprise purchases. Again, we've seen some of these kids in the line purchasing food. Like you will not be surprised by how much they're buying.
Yes.
So I think that will be great. But tuition is always the thing, right? It is always what people are talking about. So, Kristin, can you kind of tell us, how do you determine this tuition amount? It's not arbitrary. It's not just a number.
No, it's not. It is a process, and it's a very, very detailed process. And, as a nonprofit, we run a very, very tight budget. Mm-hmm. So we don't carry any debt, as I explained before, nor do we want to assume any debt. So it's really important that we get as granular as possible when we look at each year's budget, even figuring out how much the power bill increased from year to year. We had a new building come online this year, so of course our power bill is going to be a little bit more expensive. So again, it gets that granular. So the Finance Committee of the Board of Trustees works very closely with Karen Crawford, who's our Director of Finance and Operations, and me, and we go through everything, and we talk with division directors, department chairs, athletic staff, facilities and security team to look at our costs for the next school year. The cost this year will include the new lunch service, so families, as we just talked about before, should expect a higher tuition increase than in previous years. We hope that families will attend those dining service town halls to really get a sense of what that is before they decide, because it really is important. And again, I am a little concerned about sticker shock where parents are going to, but I want to make sure they have all the information so that they can really dig down and figure out what that means for their family.
So when you're looking at this budget and tuition prices, what do you prioritize?
Well, we, again, from the survey, small class sizes are super important to our families. So that is a priority. Dedicated faculty and staff. And I think over the past few years, we've really done a great job with our prospective employee open houses and really reaching out beyond our community to find the best teachers and the best staff for our students. Programming is really important. I know we've added some additional programming to upper school, middle school, and again, with the Innovation Center, there's going to be a lot more opportunities there. Facility maintenance is important. Safety. We hear about safety all the time. And again, having a Coweta County Sheriff's Officer on campus here every day is sometimes two is really great for us. So those are our priorities. We always look at cost cutting when we can. If there's a program that's not working anymore or a program that students are not participating in anymore, we take a hard look at that. We never want to make a cut that would affect the student experience, and that's what we really try to make an effort to do. So our goal each year is to keep tuition increases to a minimum. That is our goal.
Sure. All right. Well, Trevor, do you have anything else that you would like to add about re-enrollment? The big question, I'm sure on everyone's mind, will there be a return of the welcome back boxes?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
yes.
Woo!
They will be coming back. We got a brand new edition. We're really excited about what that's going to look like. I wanted to piggyback on something that Kristin had said about student experience, and that's really, I mean, as we talk about tuition, as we talk about kind of how things operate and all of that. What I don't want to get lost is student experience. We want your kids to absolutely love being part of the Heritage School, to love coming to school every single day because of the friendships that they're making, because of the experiences that they're having, because of the teachers that are investing in their lives. And so, as I think about what we're doing here, it's like school with a smile, and that to me is an irreplaceable investment in your children. So when it comes to the re-enrollment process, I just encourage families to jump into it. Share your thoughts with us. If you have feedback or questions or comments, don't hesitate to reach out to myself, to Kristin, to Karen Crawford. We want to make sure that you feel included, that you feel valued in the process. We've got a lot of different opportunities for you to ask questions or to get information. Coffee and Contracts is one such opportunity. Those dates are going to be published in the envelope that's going home with your child in just a few days. And really, with the re-enrollment box, we're excited to see what kind of energy comes around that.
Absolutely.
And we think that the 25-26 school year is going to be the best one yet. So we're excited to go ahead and get some kids re-enrolled and to get some re-enrollment boxes headed to your house soon.
Yes, for sure.
Well, this really has been a great school year so far. Lots of exciting things, and it seems like next year is going to be even better. So I'm really glad that we got a chance to kind of sit down and talk through those things and be very transparent about what's going on, what tuition's going to look like, what this new lunch model is going to look like. So watch out for those re-enrollment envelopes. They will be coming soon. Tuesday, February 25th is when they will be arriving. We'll have things on social media. You'll have emails. So you will have all the information about all the exciting things that are going on, the process that you need, the times you can meet with administrators. So we are very excited for your next chapter and the next chapter of the Heritage School.
Well, and we just want to thank you all for trusting us with your children. It is such an honor and privilege to work with them every day. We just did a 2-day winter break camp and just had the best time with your kids. So thank you for sharing them with us. We, again, are so appreciative for the trust you put in us and are so excited to start this 25-26 journey with you.
Thanks for listening to the Heritage School podcast. You can listen to At the Grove on Spotify, Apple Music, or your favorite podcast app. Further connect with the Heritage School by following us on Instagram and Facebook, or visiting our website at heritageschool.com. I'm Emily Kimbell, and we will see you next time at the Grove.